Thank you, Dr. Rohit. He made my job much difficult. I think those are people sitting over here. How many of them are having their own clinic? Or still, I think more than 60 to 70% of the people doesn't have their own clinic. So, whatever the things I'm going to tell, this is my personal experience. Not all you can take it for your future plans. So I think why we have to start private practice, the thrill of starting private practice is always something different from, I think you work under someone. Of course, when you start with your private practice, definitely initially you will have lot of downsides, but sometimes which will be overshadowed by little successful moments day by day. So, to starting a practice, okay, start with a small or go big, depending upon your financial abilities. Still, even though your good financial abilities also, I personally feel that start small, then go big. So, of course, when you are starting, always you will be the boss. I think always the excitement, even from the first day, when you start giving vision to the patient, and of course, you will be start seeing the growth from the first day with the better remuneration. So, starting a practice, whether to choose a metropolitan city or a tier 2 city, still or urban or semi-urban, but each one has got its own advantage and disadvantage, but my hat is in the semi-urban place. And about the location, if you are starting in tier 2 cities, try to select a place which is some of the important place around that city. For example, start near to the bus stand, start near to the temple or even to the church. That helps you to build up your practice little bit faster than the peripheral places. To have, whether it is on rent or own, once again depending upon your financial abilities. I personally feel someone starting first, they should have a area of around 3000 square feet. Not only having 3000 square feet is not important, always you should have a very good interior decoration. Say I have seen few of the clinic probably around 7-8 years before I entered in that clinic, they got a huge space of 4 to 5000 square feet, but interior is very bad. But nowadays every patient expect that when you are entering into any clinic, you need to have a very good interior decoration with a very good reception team. I always tell your in-house marketing has to be very good. To start with, of course, to have operation theatre in-house, I believe in that. From first day onwards, you need to have operation theatre in-house. And I started in all my practice, all my outlet, optical outlet, very important because of, I personally feel that initially this optical outlet is bread and butter for every ophthalmologist, especially in India. Always when you start, you have to announce yourself that you are doing a very good job for the patient, and I personally feel that always you should start with a very good investment. So always when you start your practice, you should identify in the city who are the person who is really going to help you to increase your practice. Like for example, some of the optometrists, some of the pharmacy people, who are the people who is going to help you, you have to be keep in touch with them. Of course, I think depending upon the places. For example, I have seen in a place like Mumbai, people tend to visit different hospital, and in the end they switch on to their clinic only for 1 or 2 hours. If you are starting in tier 2 cities, how I started with the job in government hospital, part-time I opened a clinic. Of course, if you are in alternate job position, especially places like government hospital, you got an option of doing CAM service. Definitely, if you do CAM service and even social service, definitely it's going to help you to increase your practice. So what should be minimum for a start? I personally feel that basic facilities like chair unit, slit lamp, keratometer, basic phaco machine, operating microscope. This should be there from the first day onwards. Once you have this thing, once your practice start picking up, I think you can try to add more facilities like retinal lasers and OCT. Coming to the money management is the most important point in all this our private practice, always when I started, I always opt for a company who can give staggered payment. Some of the company, you have to pay them the full money first day, then you start. No. Some of the company in India, they give us the period of, okay, you pay me after 1 year, you pay me after 6 months. I think these are the companies, normally I try to pick them and start the practice. So that gives you some breathing time. Of course, suppose someone already practicing in government hospital or some other places for a period of 1 or 2 years. They come out, they want to start their own. So there are some percentage of the patients already following you. That means you know that if I start today my practice, definitely I will have OPD of around 20, 25 or even around 30. That means you can calculate around, you can do a surgery of around 20, 25. Then I think even there is, you can think about even bundling with the company, especially with the intraocular lens, that make your job much easier. And one point I wanted to tell you, I think a lot of company people are sitting outside, whatever the price they tell, I think you should not directly pay them. Rather, you have to bargain with them. You bargain, don't try to give the order on first shot. Try to negotiate with them 2-3 times. Probably they may come up with a very good price. Of course, I always, as I already said in my previous presentation, always I never compromise for quality. Always try to go for a good equipment. Of course, up to the equipment, you can little bit compromise on a slit lamp, chair unit, green laser and ag laser, because you have seen some of the Indian companies, the price is much almost like a half the rate from the MNC company. To start with, I think you can have all this equipment from Indian companies, but I never compromise as far as you want to go for microscope or phaco machine or OCT. I always try to, I think, go for MNC companies. Nowadays, I think I've been seeing some of the companies nowadays comes with this refurbished equipment. I have purchased one microscope from Carl Zeiss around 8 years before, which is of 20 years old microscope, which has been refurbished, and I purchased. Till today that microscope is doing very well. So you can still think about this refurbished equipment. So first year always you use the media for advantage. As you know that Medical Council of India term regulation, more than 3 months you cannot put ad. But if you do some service like social service like iCam, I think you can request the media people to publish in the paper. That indirectly help your practice. And of course, when I started, I met most of the private practitioners in and around. Also, I think you can have public relationship officer. You can take one person who can meet the local optician and pharmacist just to tell about what and all the facilities are you are doing. Once after first year, when you are entering into second year, that time you can increase little bit budgeting on the print media, not like giving ad, rather how exactly to improve your marketing strategies. Mainly, I think PRS can go actively around the city, especially for field marketing. And one more thing, better to have one surgical counselor in-house only. I think once you reach around 100 cataract per month, now you think about, I think, investing on machineries like IOL Master, good OCT machine, better microscope, plus or minus better phaco machine. Once you are best phaco surgeon, I don't think so. You require really higher end phaco machine. Just to push your name in the society you can buy. Otherwise, even basic phaco machine does good job. And of course, once you started doing 100 cataract surgery per month, your stress level is keep increasing. This is the time I personally feel that always you should try to rope in for another consultant. You can either employ him or you can take him as a partner. So better if the partner practices a different subspecialty. So have future, always you should have think that what I thought after picking up more than 100, 150 cases, I always thought I should build an institute. Of course, if you want to build an institute, you need to have a teamwork. Of course, that is the time I think you should start appointing a specialist consultant. Of course, once if you, as I said, once you reach around 200 cataract, I think now you can start taking a subspecialties in your hospital. Of course, once again, I keep telling in-house marketing is the key. Of course, after in-house marketing is key, I think every person will have dream. Okay, I am doing 200, 300 cases per month. Do have to have a refractive suite in my clinic? This session probably everybody is talking about refractive surgery. Every doctor will have dream. Do I want to have refractive setup in my practice? Of course, as you all know that 90% of the cases, this refractive machine will never run for you. You will be keep earning for the company. But by having this equipment, I personally feel that your overall income will increase. Your higher end patient, like whether it's going for higher end intraocular lens surgery or multifocal cataract surgery, that may increase. Of course, always I try to build a team, and always I treat my doctors like colleagues, not as an employee. And I have, even my practice, I had given my colleagues a partnership offer. Some of them has taken that also. Always I believe in that good player can win the matches, but if you want to win the championship, I think you need to have a good team. So developing a subspecialty practice. Suppose in metro, it's very easy. A lot of people from places like Bangalore will be doing some super specialty like retina or cornea. But if you're practicing in tier 2 city, very difficult to get. So in such cases, especially you can, for this subspecialty people, you can give them some partnership offer, or you can give them a special perks in a subspecialty. Then I think you can get a good consultant even in your tier 2 cities. Of course, I am a strong belief that camp will never decrease your practice, rather than definitely it is going to increase your practice. And of course, it will build your image among the city that this hospital is doing a lot of charity work and they are doing a good service towards the humanity. Of course, I always, even though I practice in tier 2 city, always my aim to have a good equipment. Good branding is very, very important. That helps in making the hospital being recognized as one giving the quality service to the patients. So of course, once you reach that level, then most of us will not simply sit quiet. They think about spread out. Of course, if you want to spread out, I think you can think about spreading on the nearby places. But of course, you have to ready to take this stress. But if you manage it properly, I think you can think about spread out. And I think if you are spread out into larger places also, you can have a multiple centers, so that you can increase your practice. And if you are having the smaller town, that will help you as a feeding center. Of course, no time. If you are alone managing, definitely there will be no time for yourself, no time for your family. But if you can manage yourself, you can distribute your work among your partners and among your consultant, then definitely you can spend time like me when I am going around every week 3 days out of my practice. So in conclusion, no risk, no reward. The biggest risk is not taking any risk in a world that is changing quickly. The only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risk. Thank you.